Tender is the Night was written in January 1934 by F. Scott Fitzgerald. It follows the life of 18-year-old Rosemary Hoyt's summer vacation in the French Riviera, where she meets and falls in love with Dick Diver, who is a charismatic resident there along with his wife Nicole Diver. The Divers were surrounded by sophisticated friends and were fine until Rosemary came. Over time, Dick starts to reciprocate her feelings, and it leads to the downfall of their utopian community and the Divers' relationship. To make matters worse, Nicole also has a very dark secret waiting to be revealed. F. Scott Fitzgerald was born on September 24, 1896, and died on December 21, 1940, at the age of 44. Even though now being one of the greatest American writers during his lifetime, his work had more recognition and success after death. Some of his most famous works were This Side of Paradise, The Beautiful and the Damned, The Great Gatsby, Tender is the Night, and Even After Death, The Last Tycoon. They are seen as a romantic rise and fall of American idealism, which is a common theme in all of his different novels. Rosemary Hoyt is a young actress who, on a vacation trip, falls in love with Dick Diver, a married psychologist who lives and is the center of the neighborhood's liveliness. This paradise-like community seems like it was functioning until Rosemary showed up, which causes Nicole Diver, Dick's wife, to start showing the hidden cracks in their relationship. In even what seems to be like the most perfect place can lie the darkest of secrets, hidden as a cover until someone unravels the ugly truth, with the exact reasons for why it was hidden in the first place. The thematic elements are point of view, conflict, and character development. Novels for Students said, the diver's world begins to unravel in Rosemary's Eyes' hysterical bathroom scene, the duel between Tommy Brabant and Albert McKisco. North gets extremely drunk. Jules Anderson is discovered on Rosemary's bed shot dead. Nicole, going into a state of hysterics. The brilliant sheen that had blinded Rosemary has now been dulled. White Novels for Students. Rosemary opened up a door of emotions no one else knew of. She was now what is sometimes called a little wild thing. By 24 full hours, she was not yet unified, and she was absorbed in playing around with chaos, as if her destiny were a picture puzzle, counting benefits, counting hopes, telling of Dick, Nicole, her mother, the director she met yesterday, like stops on a string of beats. Fitzgerald, 156. Since it's from Rosemary's point of view, we don't have much of the background about the Divers, except what Rosemary slowly figures out. As Rosemary slowly figured out what happened with Nicole and Dick's decisions, the readers find out as well, so it was a lot more suspenseful, and gave the theme more reason than if we knew from the start or if it were from someone else's perspective. Theory and Practice in Language Studies says, soon Dick becomes aware of all probable disillusions he had to confront on his way to achieve maturity and honesty of their marriage, yet with no faith left for him. Kishimiri, Theory and Practice Language Studies. A vital key to the downfall of the Divers' marriage is how each character changes slowly as Rosemary gets more involved into the community. One of the biggest character developments happened in Dick Diver as he enjoys Rosemary more and more. Over time, he realizes the choices he did wrong and how he had to break the illusions he made up so he could get past the barriers he made to conceal the truth of the Divers' marriage. They, Dick with Rosemary, were still in the happier stage of love. They were full of brave illusions about each other, tremendous illusions, so that the communion of self with self-esteem to be on a plane where no other human relations mattered. They both seemed to have arrived there with extraordinary innocence, as though a series of pure accidents had driven them. But for Dick, that portion of the road was short. The turning came before they reached the hotel. Fitzgerald 111 through 112. The authors show how Dick knew he had to confront both women somehow, but being his ideal, usual way of a positive, all-good attitude, he couldn't, and it ultimately led to the downfall of their marriage. The Midwest Quarterly says, he feels he's lost himself. A decline for both will be physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Following him, Dick specifically, may lead to him being dispirited, etc., but he mustn't let anyone know by keeping this illusion going. Mansell Midwest Quarterly. They were at business waiting for Nicole, 6 of them, Rosemary, Abe North, Dick Diver, and 2 young French musicians. They were looking over the other patrons of the restaurant to see if they had repose. Dick said no American man had any repose, except himself, and they were seeking an example to confront him, but things looked black for them. Not a man had come to the restaurant for 10 minutes without raising his hand to his face. Fitzgerald, 77. The obvious external conflict between Rosemary and the society shows how the longer she stays and enjoys this great paradise Dick established, the longer and worse the society gets. The internal conflicts with Dick and Nicole can be seen or inferred by how they are hidden and how both react. Nicole's mental stability and Dick's ignorant manner and usual it's all good manner shows how he's naive and doesn't know how to cope with their marriage, thus making matters worse. Nicole's conditioning worsening and having an affair with Rosemary. I believe Tender is the Night is very well written because Fitzgerald not only describes the rise and downfall of an almost perfect environment, but shows the highlights of many different issues in society and romantic human behavior. In this novel of truth and lies between love, madness, innocence, and more, follows a young girl into what seems to be a perfect community with a perfect couple, when in fact it wasn't quite as perfect as they seemed. The way Rosemary's personality and affair with Dick highlighted everything that was wrong with the Divers' marriage was really well written. The structuring and how the rise and downfall of their relationship was portrayed is interesting, and I wouldn't have guessed based off the known information that their marriage was that much of a hoax. Overall, this was an amazing book, and I would love to read the rest of the series.